Hi guys! I wanted to kick off our week by talking about WordMasters. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions about how our challenge is going to work since we're going to be remote from here on out for the rest of the school year. So I wanted to kind of fill you in on some updates I've been getting from WordMasters headquarters. And then I also wanted to take some time to review analogies. As we know, analogies are how we're tested on our WordMaster words. And so it's never going to hurt to have a little bit more of a refresher on those. So I'm going to share my screen. We'll have kind of a rundown of the challenge, and then we'll do our quick little mini lesson. The rest of the week, you'll have a couple different pieces of WordMasters assignments. If you have any questions about anything I say in this video or for those assignments, obviously, please reach out to me. It's always great to just email me. If you ask mom or dad, if you can just reach out to me that way, that's always the quickest. But of course, you can also leave comments in Google Classroom on the various assignments or links. So for now, I'm going to share my screen. I want to announce first and foremost that our WordMasters challenge date is scheduled for Thursday, April 30th. So that is a week from this upcoming Thursday. So you guys have had these words since before spring break, so I'm hoping you're feeling familiar with them. You've done Blue Book assignments on all of the words. You have done analogies and you've started testing those definitions. So now's the time when we really want to hit our stuff and get going on our true studying for the challenge. Let me give you a few more details about that challenge. It is going to come to you in the form of 20 analogy-based questions. So you've seen this before. We're used to taking it via a physical piece of paper. Now you guys are going to be taking it in the form of a Google quiz. So you guys are pretty used to these at this point. We've been using them, especially for Boy and the Alamo. So the most important thing is going over your answers, checking to make sure you've done every single one, and then submitting it. You will only have one day to do this test. So from the second it goes live around 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. on Thursday, you have to take that test to make sure that you are in. This is an honor code system. So while I actually will have a setting on the computer that says you can't go to any other screen while you're taking the assessment, one other thing I'm going to obviously have to ask you is that you respect the St. Mark's honor code and you're not getting any parent help, no sibling help, no classmate help. So you are going to take this test to the best of your own personal ability, try your hardest, and hopefully you will get a score that you are super proud of. And I know that if you put in the time the next couple weeks, we'll definitely be able to achieve that for everyone. One thing I want you to keep in mind, words from all three of our different sets will be on this challenge. So that's 75 different words. Obviously, we're focusing on the 25 from our most recent set, but don't forget to review some of those older words. And I'll have a couple of pieces of review so you can become more familiar with those old words and kind of jog your memory a bit, but definitely take it upon yourself to review your Blue Book. Remember, guys, that's a dictionary. You wrote it, so don't waste it by not looking at it. If you've already put in so much work, definitely take advantage of that. Now, if you're thinking of ways you can study, as I said, I'm definitely going to be assigning you a few things over the next week, but in your free time, outside of kind of the assignments that you'll already have, I highly suggest some of these things. Remember, a word web is an amazing way to show all the connections between the word master words. So this is what we would do on the big whiteboard. We'd write down a word and then see which one it would connect to from the other sets of words. So if you have a big space in your house, maybe a chalkboard, or maybe you could go outside on the sidewalk and make a word web, any way that you can visually connect all those words is a great way to get it into your brain how those words are connected. You can make a GIM kit. I'm going to assign a few GIM kits, but you guys are always welcome to make your own GIM kits and use that for practice. Same goes for Kahoot. Some of you guys might like Quizlet, so you could make flashcards or you could physically make them on note cards if you'd like. Writing words in a sentence is one of the best ways, and we'll do a little bit of practice for an actual assignment, but you could go above and beyond and write some sentences of your own. And of course, analogies. We have to practice those in order to feel comfortable with a format that we will see the challenge in. So let's go ahead for the next couple minutes and talk about analogies. Remember, an analogy is a comparison between two things, and the comparison is used to determine the relationship between different sets of things. So a classic one is a bark is to a dog as meow is to cat. So the relationship there We know that dogs make the sound of a bark, cats make the sound of a meow. So that's just an easy analogy there to be able to compare. But let's go ahead and remember that there's tons of different types of analogies. So we've gone over tons of these over the past year. So hopefully all of these are familiar to you, but if not, I put them up here for you to kind of review. And remember, this is going to be a PDF, so you can always refer back to this. You don't have to watch the video over and over to go back and look at this presentation. I've loaded this into a presentation that you can just scroll through on your own. So cause and effect, part to whole, definitely some of the biggest ones we'll see, but we certainly know that in the past we have seen action and object, we've seen item and category, we've certainly seen product and source, object and material. So, and of course, synonyms and antonyms, we know that's super important. So all of these are ways to think about analogies and how to use analogies, how to make connections between the words. So if you decide to make that word web, think of all of these different ways that words could be connected. Let's review how to solve an analogy, because this is exactly how you'll see your challenge formatted. So let's say you started the quiz, started the challenge, and it says car is to tire as chair is to blank. Well, this is how you would want to go about the thought process of solving an analogy. First, you want to decide what the relationship between the first two words. So remember, guys, I actually cover up the entire second part of the question so that I can focus on the first two words and the relationship between those. So I have to think, what does a tire have to do with a car? What does a car have to do with a tire? So I'm stating the relationship by using a bridge sentence. We've talked about these. I know they are not your favorite, but oh my goodness, are they so helpful in solving analogies. So my bridge sentence is as simple as a tire supports a car, right? Because tires hold up the car, they're what helps it move. Then we're going to examine the third word. All right, chair. So chair, I now need to think about what would a chair have to do with a car and specifically having something that supports it. That makes me think of step 4, selecting a fourth word that will make the third and fourth word have the same relationship as the first and second word. So I have to find a way to get chair to match my bridge sentence for my first two words. So if my first bridge sentence was a tire supports a car, then I need to figure out how to fit chair in there. And so here's why I chose my fourth word. Chair is to legs because a car has 4 tires that support it, the way that a chair has 4 legs that support it. Now realize I got even more specific with my bridge sentence after I realized how I could connect the first two words to the third and fourth word. So that's just a step-by-step of how we can solve an analogy. So let's do a little bit more practice. As we go through this, guys, go ahead and you can pause the video. You could write a bridge sentence along with me and see if your bridge sentence matches up with mine as we're going through this process. That'll be a really great way to just quickly kind of study with me, or at least come up with a bridge sentence in your head before I reveal what I wrote. On is to off as start is to. All right, so first I want to think about those first two words only. So on is to off. All right, so I know that the opposite of on is off. So that should be an easy way to think about the next one, which is start. So on is to off. Those are opposites. There's my bridge sentence. On is opposite of off. My bridge sentence is simple, but it's specific, which means that start is going to be opposite of stop. That bridge sentence, all I had to do was take those first two words out and replace them with a third and fourth word. If you can do that and the analogy is true, then you are in a good spot with your bridge sentence. Nail is to finger as hair is to blank. All right, so I need to think about what is the relationship between a nail and a finger. Well, I know that my nail is a part of my finger. So this sounds like a part to whole analogy to me. So I said, for my bridge sentence, nail is part of a finger. And can I do the same if I replace hair is part of the head? And remember, order matters. So we had to think of whatever nail is part, finger was the whole. So I had to make sure I was keeping in that same order when I was talking about hair and head. Eye is to see as ear is to blank. Now function, kind of the roles, the jobs of certain things is definitely one way that we see analogies being brought up in WordMasters. So here's a function. the function of an eye is to see. You could also say the job. An eye's job is to see, or a, an eye is used to see, could be another way of saying it, but you want to be specific as possible. So I was able to easily replace eye with ear, and see made sense to replace that with hear, and my bridge sentences match. Swift is to deer as slow as to blank. So this sounds like ways that we're describing these animals. So I had to think of, if a deer is swift, I had to think of an animal that was slow. So something that has a characteristic, because a deer is characteristically swift the way a turtle is characteristically slow. Last but not least, a wool is to sheep as egg is to blank. All right, I had to think about this one a little bit. So a sheep wears wool, a sheep has wool. I'm trying to get as specific as possible though. Sometimes I know that sheep actually produce that wool and it's used. So I'm gonna go with wool is produced by a sheep, because then I can think about an egg. Who would produce an egg? A chicken. So the bridge sentence doesn't have to be super painful, but you do want to be really specific. And that is going to be the best way to ensure that your first part of your analogy matches your answer. Here I've attached some extra analogies practice. So again, I'm going to post this PDF into Google Classroom, and you'll be able to just go to that PDF, scroll down to the bottom, and click on these links. And I'll find other ways to get these links out to you. These are just more ways to practice analogies themselves, not necessarily our WordMaster words, but actually get in the habit of making sure that you are making connections and understanding how different words have relationship to one another. So I appreciate you guys watching and making sure that you are feeling ready for WordMasters. Remember, it is a team effort. So everything that you do on your own helps all of us to achieve our goals. And remember, guys, we really did an amazing job of improving from our first to second challenge. So I'm really, really excited to see what we can do on this last and final chance. I know that you guys will all rise to the occasion. I know you'll all put in that effort. Just please let me know how I can help support you from afar, because I know this is a little different, but you guys are the most adaptable, growth mindseted boys I've ever met. So I know that we are going to do great things with this WordMasters challenge. So catch you guys later.